Hello everyone, this is Vanguard Kitty Porter for duty, and first and foremost I just want to say a very happy new year and happy 2025 to all of you, and hope your new year is starting out great. Now since it is a new year, I might as well record a new video for it. Now we're starting off with sort of like my introduction or sort of my accessories videos, and this is what I use mainly for Vanguard. And as you can see, we're starting off with the sleeves here, and this video is actually like mirrored when I'm recording this in Discord, but I will fix it, don't worry. So now we're gonna get started with the sleeves I use here. And for me, I'm pretty simple when it comes to sleeves, aside from serious decks, aside from, well, the occasional art sleeves that I have here. Like, these are like one of my oldest set of sleeves, actually, like the inner sleeve. Okay, but usually I would go for like a solid color combination with this here from my undercover deck. So this is and I will just say this is currently proxy for the time being, which I'll, because I'm still like gathering up a budget to get the real cards here. But anyways, so this is like my typical sleeve combo, which is basically a any sort of mini card sleeve with a solid color, and using a emphasis, I'm using a standard size, emphasis on standard size, like clear or solid color sleeve here. Usually all of my inner sleeves are either a Bushiroad or an Ultra Pro art sleeve like this, which is because this is specifically from Ultra Pro, actually, or a KMC Hypermat Mini, like any of those, like simple, one of those like notable brands. And an oversleeve that is like, for the time being, I'm actually using this brand here called Unicorn Game Plus, and I've been actually using their solid color sleeves and clear sleeves, but for the clear sleeves for like a longest while now, because let me just say, like, for price wise, these, and quantity wise, this have been like the best for me, especially for my quantity of decks, even though I'm just proxying them. So yeah, this is pure like a new sort of like item I saw in their shop list, or their online, their card shop, or their online website here in Shopee. That for further contact, Shopee is like a Southeast Asian exclusive online website, and that's where I usually get my card supplies from. So this is like from a shop called Little Prince Collectibles, and I would just say already, I'm not sponsored by them. I'm just an avid user of this brand. So this is called Unicorn Game Plus, and this is their like dual matte card sleeve. What I find interesting is how they worded the card sleeve here. It says the third sleeve for Yu-Gi-Oh. So like, I'm assuming this is meant for like a triple sleeves kind of scenario, because it doesn't show up on camera well, but you can see like just like a border there. Like you see the card is in there, right? And you see there's like one sleeve, the second sleeve, and the third sleeve, which is supposed to be this. So I think it's sort of like a triple sleeve sort of scenario, because you sleeved an art sleeve first already, and use a proper oversleeve for the mini, and then you oversleeve again with this thing. But I think these are just their clear sleeves repackaged in another way. I think I'm not calling them out or anything. I love their brand. Don't get me wrong. I'm just like noticing the fact that this is the exact same size as their standard size sleeves here, which is both 66 by this is 66 by 91. This is 66 by 92. So like slightly different in like the length, but they're practically the same, except this is just packaged for like sort of marketed towards a triple sleeve layer for Vanguard, or just a for mini card sleeve specifically. And I'm sort of like just intrigued by the fact they're using this kind of like marketing strategy. Now moving on to the more used sort of like variant of their card sleeve here, I'm actually using this for oversleeves, which is their standard size card sleeves meant for Magic and White Schwartz. And as you can see here, the quantity says 100. And this is like why I love their brand so much, is because the quantity is like, it's like one of the best ones I've seen so far, and especially for the price. This like this is roughly for my currency it's like 198 PHP, but if we convert it to roughly USD, it should be like this is like this is like less than $4 in USD, because if I just add a bit like 2 cents sort of to the 198, it becomes 200 PHP, which it should be roughly just around $4. So basically, you're buying a sleep brand like this sleep product for just $4, and you get 100. This is pretty much a very good sort of deal if you're playing Magic, because you use a commander deck for 100 cards. And also, I do apologize if my camera goes on and off with focusing, because I don't have a professional camera, so I'm using the best I can. But yeah, this is like a very good bang for your buck for a Magic player. But especially even as a Vanguard player, you can basically sleeve like 2 main decks with this, and just use whatever you have for spares with a ride deck. And this is basically sleeving. You can basically sleeve 2 main decks to be specific for Vanguard, and just use whatever you want for the ride deck. So at the moment, I am using all of my decks are like most of my decks are using the unicorn sort of and KMC combination, which is like a KMC Hypermat Mini for a small size, and the Oversleeve is unicorn. And I will say, like, the shuffle feel is absolutely amazing with these cards. Like, they don't stick that much at all. Like, it's unlike if it's a non-matte sleeve. I forgot to mention, these are actually matte, so they have a textured pattern on the back and gloss at the front. So they won't stick usually. They won't usually stick too much after some usage, but I will admit, like, this sort of these sleeves that I'm using specifically, I have been using them for like over, I think it's already been 1.5 years ever since I bought these, and they're still going strong. Like, these are very durable sleeves. Like, I would say they are as tough as the Yanomon Z sleeves that are pretty popular for causing people paper cuts. I've actually have used Yanomon Zs, but sadly, like, I think it's just the fact that they only come with 50 sort of like drove me off their brand for the time being. So I'm just currently sticking to Unicorn here. But there is another card sleeve brand for Overs that I would still use if I wanted a more legal sleeve combination, which is actually this deck right here, my Proxy Argo Siren deck for set 7 Proxy, emphasis on Proxy, which is the RSS minis. I'll flash the packaging here because I don't really keep them for my I don't really keep their packaging because I just throw them out almost right away when I use them. I don't really buy spares, so to speak. I just buy 1 pack per deck. So yeah, so this is like the RSS card sleeve here, and as you can see, it's like the fit is there, but unfortunately, like, you can see like a very long lip here, and I will say that some people prefer it, some people don't like it. I'm like sort of in the middle here. Like, I get that you don't like the lip here, but at the same time, it does sort of like give you the illusion that it's not gonna fall out straight. And yeah, but I will say this is sort of my personal preference. Like, you don't have to completely agree with me, especially if you haven't used this brand yet. But yeah, this is like RSS. They're also a durable sleeve and also a cheap sleeve as well, and they're like around, for me here in the Philippines, for their pricing, they're like around roughly the same price as the unicorn around the unicorn card sleeves here, with like yeah, they're right around the same price here, which is like around $4. But they can be different prices depending on where you can afford them. I will just say that from another, like, I've heard from like another Vanguard player which is CardOtakuDesu. I actually caught wind of RSS through him. I will put a link to the description down below for you to see like the video where I sort of like discovered these gems. And I will say they only come with 50 actually, as opposed to 100 for standard size. But Honestly, you can never go wrong with a cheap yet durable card sleeve, especially if you have like many decks. Like what CardOtaku said, like these are like the best bang for your buck if you have you are playing many decks and you don't want to spend like more than you should. And this RSS is actually like an underrated brand, and I also say that Unicorn Game Plus is also an underrated brand for sleeves. Like in terms of durability, they're basically like Yanoman Z's, which like I have not gotten a single one split at all for RSS, even though they feel cheap. And yeah, they do look cheap as well. But don't get me wrong, these sleeves are actually pretty durable. Like they have durability wise, a unicorn and RSS, they're like equal durability to Z's without the whole cutting your your fingers sort of bit. And yeah, and now this I'm actually unsure of the sleeve brand here. So I assume it's RSS because of the seller. They posted like a smaller size version of supposedly the RSS sleeves here. Because I assume it could be RSS. I'll just flash the product image that I've seen in Shopee, but they're basically like around the same. Excuse me. They're basically around like the same size as Z's, but they're softer and they actually have a matte finish in the back and they're gloss at the front. So they have excellent shuffle feel. Like they don't stick to each other. Like as long as they're like newly packed, they should not stick to each other because of the matte finish here. They're also pretty durable too. Like man, these sleeves are like a gem that I found for me here in the Philippines. Like Unicorn Game Plus and RSS, they're pretty good for your wallet if you want to buy like quantity wise. They're pretty good, but quality wise, it's up to you if you can take my word for it or not. I would just like maybe take it with a grain of salt because this is from what I experienced and not what other players would experience. But I can point to CardOtakuDesu as like another person that plays with using RSS card sleeves. But I will say that if you're looking for like the much for both quality and quantity, I will still like highly recommend. I will still recommend the broccoli sleeve protectors because they come with they are properly sized, and they come in like 4 or 5 different variations of sleeves. Like you have embossed and clear, you have just clear, and you'll have the more popular matte and clear, and they're still pretty durable too. But I have heard that broccoli they tend to split like a bit more frequently than Z's because they're still thinner. But yeah, that's what I've heard. And overall, for like card sleeves here, they actually I would this is what I use. Basically, just to recap, I use Unicorn Game Plus for all of my decks, and occasionally if I want to use RSS again, it's gonna be RSS. It's either these two brands, which is Unicorn Game Plus and RSS for my card sleeves. Inner sleeves is really up to you. Like it's really up to you. Like I prefer KMC Hypermat Minis because they're both also for quality and quantity and price, but also of course if you really want to show off your like love for art or support for Bushiroad, you can just like buy any of their current art sleeves here, which is I do have my unsleeved my unsleeved, you could say my semi-protected Darfo dolls with is in the Grand Field sleeve. Like I would say if you want to really show your support to Bushiroad, you can buy these. It's just I just hate the fact that they're expensive as heck, and they're not really durable. Like you need to buy oversleeves for these. As you should. You never buy art sleeves without any oversleeves. Like that's like the sort of like a hidden like rule for buying these, because you must please buy an oversleeve if you're gonna use art sleeves. So yeah, that's it really for sleeves here. Let's move on to my deck boxes. And here we are for the deck boxes. Now I prefer like some more simplistic deck boxes that are not, you know, the higher end leathers. Like for example, like for the first one here, which is the Dragon Shield deck shell. I think, yeah, it is the deck shell. It's pretty simple, just the upright standard deck box. That this would cost like this cost me like around just around like $2 to $3 online. So yeah, this is how it looks like on display. Like when you use the flap to make it as a sort of mini stand for it. This is where my Android Jewel deck sits in. Now, yeah. Next is the Ultra Pro Eclipse. I'm hoping that the coloration of this stays well in the video because it's supposed to be like a dark purple color, but it looks blue in the footage as much as I hate to say it. But yeah, this like very similar structure to the all these across here have like they have the same like structural design. There's slight differences. This is mostly just a bit wider than the Dragon Shield deck shell here. It's like also a bit more square. Like if you can see, like right there, like it's wider. It is wider than the deck shelf, which provides more space. This is where my this is my Daffodils sitting. I have decorated it with a bit of stickers here, which is from my locals here, Luxac, because we love it. And of course, the Owl House Iceglyph. Great show, by the way. Highly recommend it for a modern cartoon. And next up is like a generic kind of deck box that I just bought from Shopee here for like just around the same price as the Dragon Shield. And there's a cutesy little drawing of Sparta here, which is the grade 1 for the Unica ride line. Which is like done by a schoolmate of mine at school, which is very, very pretty. This is forever sealed in it too. I don't want to take the tape off. So yeah, so if I would transfer this, I would just fix this deck box if the flap ever breaks in the back. But yeah, this is my just a simple red deck box here. And the biggest of the stand style or standing upright style deck box is my this I don't know the brand, but I definitely know it's a Japanese brand. It's like also pretty cheap, like just I think the cheapest out of the bunch, more so than Dragon Shield here, for like around $2 roughly. This is like the widest too, and of course cute little Stitch sticker right there. This is where my Grand Fia sits in. And you can say the landscape style deck boxes, which I actually have 2 of it. This is actually custom made from a shop in Shopee that I order from. They would give you like an option to put a customized logo on your deck box, which I did here. Excuse me. Which is the first one is a lion-like design I just saw online, and this was formerly the Black Panther symbol here, but the first layer chipped away for too much, so I just ripped it off and just replaced it with this cool looking T-Rex sticker that I found in like a mall. Probably my favorite sticker to put here. This has been through quite a lot. It's been like roughly I think nearly around 2 years now at this point since I've bought this. This is only 1.5 for this one. This is like the only one that's the landscape too. You can put your decks up right here. You can try, but the flap, the top won't close properly at that rate. So yeah, I would recommend these sort of like simpler style deck boxes if you're not if you don't mind just carrying another case for another container for your like power blocks and such. But yeah, this is really just for just the decks, just the deck alone without any additional casing if you want to save money. But if I were to recommend some of the higher end deck boxes from each of these, from Dragon Shield and Ultra Pro respectively, it's definitely their Satin Towers for this, and the nesting boxes. There we go. The Dragon Shield nesting boxes, which because that deck box is held by magnets, but the Satin Towers are just held by simple friction. So you can oh, cats. There are cats outside, sorry. So there are better options for these two, and definitely not this because it's generic. And this is, I would say, if you have the most amount of decks, I would recommend this for the cheapest yet still viable option. Like, this is a very wide deck box, as you can see. This is like my additional stuff here besides my ride deck, like all the additional cards there. I would definitely recommend this for the most quantity of decks that you have. that is like if you want to really ensure that you have a container for each of your deck. But higher end decks, like maybe your meta deck or high rarity stuff, definitely the Satin Towers or the I can't find words. The nesting boxes from Dragon Shield. And so this is my deck boxes here. Pretty simple, straightforward. Now we're gonna move on to the more auxiliary kind of accessories that I have. Okay, so here we have the sort of last portion of my accessories, which is the power counters or power blocks, if we want to be proper. So as you can see, these are obviously not the official power blocks, because here their prices are no bueno. They cost like a single pack of my unicorn sleeves just for 2 freaking blocks, and it's not even the 10k one. So yeah, I'm not spending that much for just 2 blocks, and I can't even get like the 10k ones. So as you can see, I sort of made my own DIY sort of power blocks here, and all I did is just measure like a certain length and width here for each of the sides and just cut them up and just folded them together. And I just used a marker to just mark to draw out the power here. They're just the material is just a simple like thin cardboard that specifically came from like one of those school folders that you use for like your projects and portfolios and such. If you can spend the time to just do some small bits of arts and craft, you can this is what you get. Like this is what you get really. And I do have some more in the side. I'm just not willing to bring them all here for space. But yeah, other sort of like accessories I have is just good old simple dice here. My one of my for my D&D says here for usually rolling to see who goes first or just rolling for higher roll here. And if whenever I go out to locals, I would bring these more than these power counters because less weight on my bag. But these are, I think, from what I can recall, you can't use like dice as a power tracker in official events, from what I know. But you can all just look that up in Bushiroad's official like rule book in their website to see if it's to confirm. That's what I know at least, because I've seen some back and forths that dice are not allowed. Oh, dice are actually allowed in certain events, but I don't know anymore. I just stick to the whole like, so as long as it's not official stuff, they don't allow it from what I know. So like, just if you really want to make sure you have proper power counters, I would just say just buy those if you can. I'm just not willing to spend that much for just two blocks that I can use that money to just buy a big pack of sleeves. But yeah, so this one my basic accessories here. You see, I made the power counters range from the lowest of 5k, 10k, oh, sorry, 30k, and of course the 50k, and good old 100 mil when OT comes out. And the minus 5k is actually more for like matchups, like Wall Street here. And the +1 drive for, because I'm using dolls as my main deck, and good old +1 crit, 2 crit, 3 crit, and 4 crit. I'm not playing Brangate OT, that's for sure though, but they do get that high sometimes. So yeah, just like mostly my auxiliary accessories for keeping track of power. Now let's move on to perhaps the recap of this whole video. And that concludes my overall accessories for Vanguard. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little fun video. So this is really just like a way to showcase like what of the supplies I use for Vanguard. I didn't even bother going over the playmats because you're gonna really see it right here. Just the Andro playmat from set 1 for Divine Z. So yeah, just to add a bit to the recap. So what I use for sleeves is Unicorn Game Plus, like solid color or solid colors. In terms of solid colors, it's not legal, but it looks pretty. And for proper oversleeves, I use just what I assume is RSS. And deck boxes, it varies for me as long as they do the job and they're within my budget range. And custom made power counters, because I'm not gonna be buying their overpriced shit. Like, man, I can't even. Why did it have to be? It costs just as much as getting like one of these and one of these. Gotta love overpricing though. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this little video of mine. And like before, I just want to wish you all a very happy New Year and happy 2025. And hope that 2025 has a lot of things to offer for Vanguard, and not just that too. So yeah, don't you just feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to stick around, feel free. And this is Vanguard Kitty signing out.